Well, it certainly has gotten cold out here, hasn't it? Let me tell you of one place that hasn't gotten cold though. It's the Middle East. And to continue the story that we're going on, we're gonna be going back into the Middle East and hearing about the third part of this big story that we've been hearing about, the life of Hezekiah. But before that, I have an announcement to make. So on Saturday, there's a Thanksgiving giveaway and they need your help. If y'all remember last year, a few of you guys and myself, we showed up to give out turkeys. Please come at 1:30 and then you'll be starting to give away those turkeys starting at 2 p.m. So that's all I have for you on that side of things. So let's get into the story. Now, if y'all remember, Israel was taken over by the king of Assyria during the reign of Hezekiah. So King Hezekiah, he was an awesome king, but then Israel had an idol problem, and Judah also had an idol problem. And so King Hezekiah, he led a lot of Israelites and Judeans to get rid of all their idols, which was awesome, but that wasn't the full story. So the king of Assyria, the first king of Assyria in this story that came out, his name was Shalmaneser, and he came down, he took over Israel and he banished them to his country and they had to live there. The king that followed after Shalmaneser's name was Sennacherib. So you can remember his name by, well, sometimes when you're hungry, maybe you like to snack on a rib. So that's Sennacherib right there. There weren't any ribs maybe in these times, especially not pork, but maybe the Assyrians liked pork. Who knows? Basically, Sennacherib came into Judah. So the top northern half of the kingdom's Israel, that was taken out by Shalmaneser. The bottom half was called Judah, and that, like city by city, was being taken out by Sennacherib. And he's been intimidating these cities and taking them out without even a fight. He's been besieging them and all that kind of stuff. He was a threat. And so basically, he came up, he took out Lachish. He kind of set it up as his own headquarters. And he threatens Hezekiah in Jerusalem. Now what happens is that Hezekiah gets this letter and he tears his clothes. Like none of us have thankfully ever been able to or had the opportunity to do that. If you can, then takes some incredible strength. But he tears his clothes and then he lays out this letter in front of God and he's like, God, what am I going to do about this? This guy's track record is impeccable. He's gonna take out Jerusalem just like he's taken everywhere else out. And then Sennacherib has been saying like, oh, your God actually told us that we're going to be taking over your place. And so poor Hezekiah, he's like, God, are you even on my side? And he talks to Isaiah, and Isaiah, he prophesies some crazy stuff. To summarize it, he says that because Sennacherib blasphemed against God and because he said just obscene things against God, God was going to wipe him out and he was going to have his sons kill him and God was going to take care of the fight. This was what Isaiah prophesied about, and Hezekiah took that, and you know, you had all these soldiers around Jerusalem, and then it came nighttime, and the next morning 185,000 of them woke up dead, so they didn't wake up. So I looked into this, and there's some versions of the plague that can do that. And also, if you want to hear about the other historical records of this, because the Bible can be taken as a historical document, you can look at Berossus and Herodotus, who both talk about the same thing. And now they have little different explanations of it. I want you to look into that. It's super interesting. Now, this is how you'd like to hear the story ends, you know? Like Sennacherib just leaves there and he goes home and he runs away. But really, that's not the end of it. He does end up going home and his sons stab him to death. A little gruesome if you ask me. But then back in Jerusalem, Hezekiah, he gets sick and he's on his deathbed. And Isaiah says to him, hey man, you're gonna die. And he was like, no. And he prayed and he asked God for healing. Now, does God change his mind? I'll let you think about that for a second. He does not, but he has compassion. You can see in the life of Jesus, he has compassion. And here he has compassion too. God heals Hezekiah and gives him 15 more years in his life. You can read about this in 2 Chronicles 32, 25. So basically, in 2 Chronicles 32, 25, Hezekiah followed God but became prideful. And he knew that it was wrong. Isaiah told him, hey man, you gotta repent of this pride. You can't keep that in your life. Now for a lot of us, I know for myself, that might be a hard thing to hear, even if it's from a friend, especially if it's from a friend, telling me, hey man, you're being prideful. That would be rough to deal with. But he repented and God relented. So God was gonna punish him for his pride because Hezekiah was like, oh wow, I did so many awesome things for a little bit. God did some crazy miracles in his life too. Hezekiah was like, oh, I'm kind of special then. And then God was like, nope, hold on there. And Hezekiah repented and God relented. He had compassion on Hezekiah. So a couple of questions I want you to think about if you have time. First one, what do you see in Hezekiah's life that you want to have in your life? Second one, how do you think Hezekiah got there? And third, how can you grow closer to God like Hezekiah did? I want you to think about these, and especially over this Thanksgiving season, find the ways that God's shown up in your life and that he's shown you that you can trust him in the times of need. So thanks for listening, y'all. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. We're not meeting next week for youth group, but I'll see you on Sunday and hopefully on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. here at the church. God bless. Take care.